What's up, guys? People here, and today's video is going to be about the new True Lacrosse key head. And I gotta say right off the bat that I was a little skeptical, but if you compare it to their True Frequency head, heads, because there's 3 different versions of the frequency, big improvement, big improvement. Not that the frequency was a bad head or anything like that, but as far as a first head for a company that's been around in lacrosse for a while, maybe not as far as making heads, but being in the community for a while. They've been making shafts for years. If you look at some old, some old STX shafts, like I have a STX Scandium somewhere that has, along the bottom it says True Temper Technology. True Temper has been around for a while. They're in golf, they're in lacrosse, I think they're in hockey as well. But so, as far as this head's concerned, in getting... Hold on just a sec. There we go. But improving from your frequency to this, it's a big step up. If I had to compare, frequency would probably kind of be the... it would kind of have to be your intermediate head. I mean, you can use it for advanced players, but I would say it's a little bit more leaning towards your intermediate play style. This would have to be your advanced play style or very experienced player. I mean, I didn't really have much to say about it or think about it until I got it in my hands, and I have to say that it has blown my expectations out of the water. Very first thing that I thought when I was starting to string it up with this Hero Mesh, Hero 2.0, which it takes really well, is that it's very tight. It makes me, like, stringing it up, I had to kind of string it like I would string a CEO from Nike, and that's not a bad thing. I'm not a huge fan of the CEO, but stringing wise, it just has that super tight face shape all the way up. Kind of makes you think of a Evo Pro X6, you know, if you've ever seen those. It makes you really think of an Evo Pro X6. It has a little bit more pointed of a scoop than the Evo Pro would have, but very solid as far as that's concerned with the face shape, which is why it's called a key. It's supposed to look like a keyhole, like most heads kind of do, but this one is very pronounced in that shape. Kind of still has the same throat going on as the frequency, where it's kind of nice and blocky, but not too much material going on there, even though it's a little blocky. Has 3 screw holes, so you can pretty much put it on any shaft that's out there. The frequency only had 1 in this box here, in the little square here, so big improvement there. I thought they were going to go with just 2, but they went with 3, which is great. Not too much going on with the ball stop area, your bottom of the throat. The bottom holes are wide. They're pretty wide. They can take wider, maybe not thicker, but wider leathers if you want. They'll take the rail pocket, the rail system from Fire Threads pretty well. Or you can just get real fancy with your bottom string. I don't know. Getting into your sidewall holes, the sidewall holes are round now instead of like a rhombus shape, so like kind of like a rectangular, offset rectangular shape. Went with rounded, very close together. I was a little skeptical of that at first, but like a lot of the new heads that are coming out now, the polymers are much more durable, even though they are a little more malleable, like they move a little easier, which is another thing to talk about this head as far as sidewall holes and structure and everything. It's a little on the flexible side, but after having strung it, it didn't warp. Like, I really wrenched down to test it out, and unless you're really trying to skip like a bunch of holes, like I only skipped about 5 or 6 there to start it off, and then I went down to 4, and then I skipped only 2, and it got less and less as I went down in order to accommodate the mesh. But unless you're really trying to get a super tight channel, which you really shouldn't, unless you're trying to do that, you're not likely to warp the face shape of this head, even though it's a little bit more on the flexible side. I might even say that it could be good as a stand-in face-off head, not a starting face-off head, but like a backup if you break your actual main face-off head and this is your field head, your play head. But with that said, your sidewalls are very close together. You can string up just about any pattern that you want. The sidewall holes don't really change in size at all the way up, except for near the top. You can kind of tell there. It's almost like they punched two holes right on top of each other, but slightly askew, so it makes it bigger, which is fine. The spacing between your top sidewall hole to your first top hole here, top string hole, is decently spaced to where it's not super bunched up. And then it has 6 top string holes, which are really pretty decent size, to where I used actual top string and it almost looks like a regular sidewall spacing slash sizing. A little bit wider on the aspect between the 2 center holes, but that's kind of, I feel that's kind of to help with the fact that it's a little more pointed, and then your actual angle of attack for your scoop here is a little bit more kind of pointed, and since the holes are a little bit wider, the actual curvature of the scoop, which is pretty decent, it's less likely to really scrape on the ground, your top string holes, or just your top string in general. So it's a little more on the kind of protective side of things. And then a little bit rounded at the top, so it's definitely going to be able to kind of slide over the dirt and the turf and everything and really get that ball into the pocket. And that's what's really good about this head, is if you string it kind of like a mid-high, the fact that it has a pretty aggressive scoop means that it'll get the ball in there just a little bit quicker. And since the pocket's going to be sitting a little higher, you'll have positive control faster. So the ball will get into the actual performance area of the pocket quicker, which allows you for quicker control. I kind of did a shifty pocket in this. You can do pretty much specific stuff. Be sure that when you're stringing that you're well aware of your bottom string area and being able to pull it tight and not having it in an illegal depth of your pocket, which I think we'll all be okay with the amount of stringing tutorials and everything out there. All in all, really great head. I really like it. I'm really glad that True listened to criticism and told their engineers what they wanted to go with. And all in all, they didn't go hugely overboard with their True everything. Although they did put True embedded into the scoop. So if you're gonna do any designs as far as dyeing is concerned, you might want to do something about trying to like accommodate the fact that this is indented into the plastic at the scoop. So maybe work around it or something. But they didn't go overboard with the aesthetics of the head. Very simple, really good strut design. I really like the head. I'm really glad that they came out with another one and that it wasn't that bad of an improvement. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you got a little bit of something out of this about the new True key head. Should be on the market by the time you see this video. If not, it'll be out soon. And honestly, you need to get a hold of one. If you like your tighter face shapes and higher pockets, this is a really good option for you. Has a really good offset, as you can see. Pretty aggressive offset, if you ask me. Real just straight out. And bottom rail doesn't really have too much of a specific spot, kind of just straight, so that you can put the pocket really wherever you want, and the offset will accommodate you. So thanks for watching, guys. I will check you later.